Power Talk on Listen Talk 1380. WAOK 404 892 2703. And joining me now is Bishop Thomas Weeks, and we certainly appreciate him being with us on this morning. Bishop Week has a brand new book that just hit the markets on this week. The book is entitled What Love Taught Me. Bishop Weeks, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate being here with you.
Bishop Weeks, can you please, let's begin by, if you could give everybody some positive reflections on your book.
I've always been one that wanted to help and develop and empower people's lives. I started years ago, as many people know, the Teach Me How to Love You series, which turned into a book, of course, and a conference series. And through that, we began to empower both the single and married people to focus on principles, how to strengthen and clarify their relationships. Obviously, over the last 4.5 months, there's been a debacle of interest into ours because of alleged situation. With that said, there has been a lot of silence by me, and in that I started journalizing, as I do every day, things and thoughts out of prayer and out of meditation that the Lord would share with me. And as I prayed through this and started writing and taking the steps to go from the woundedness to healing into wholeness, I began to think about what love taught me. And there were some very key principles about why my present situation with my wife is there, specifically concerning why it didn't develop as it could. One of them is that I deal in the book that's very important, is people saw us as a perfect couple, which we were. Perfect being that I'm very administrative, very vision-oriented, etc. She's very creative. We're both in ministry, i.e. all those wonderful things. However, I put in the book, and I break it down very methodically, that a perfect fit, as people will look at it, is only really truly perfect potential. And if you don't maximize focus on the potential, the fit never becomes a fit. And we began to share and break down things that become the reality of why people struggle in development. And in that, I share some very heartfelt, open, and clear, intense insight to things that both of us struggled with. I announce about, my struggle with just being a workaholic before we got married, and then becoming a more workaholic because of the lonely days and the separation and not having a calendar together. So there's a lot that I deal with in this book, and I'm sure there's more I'll share over the time that we have. But the reflections is what love taught me. There's a lot that you will learn from love. One of the things that I taught is that some mystery that's revealed through misunderstandings, i.e., a person doesn't know how much they love a person until there is a misunderstanding, an argument, some heated fellowship, if you would call it, and then you decide to change a part of you that would actually help the person you love learn more about you in the way that you said that you would never change. And the way you really know you love somebody is when you start changing you in the way you swore you would never change you, so that you can keep the love that you get from this person to keep on continuing to love you. And so love is a mystery that's revealed through misunderstandings. You never know how much you love a person until you go through some type of hell with them and change you to help grow both of you. And then you look back at yourself and say, wow, wait a minute, did I really do that? Yes, you did it, because you love not only you, but you love this person, and you want to continue that relationship. And that's one reason why I was silent for 90 days. I knew how much I love money, and she knows how much I love her. And through all the things that were being said in the media, I tried to give a good window of clarity and time for reflection, because all that was being conjured and manipulated was not the truth. And I was hoping that one day that there would be a moment where there would be reflection and wisdom and wholeness, and therefore we could have come back and continued the reconciliation that had already began before that time. But because of what I share in the book, another principle that's there is that once you allow people into your camp, because true love is private. True love, you cannot have real love when everybody else has hands in how you love a person. If they're telling you how to love the person this way, treat them this way, so forth and so on, there's no way that that person's really teaching you how to love them. You're learning how to love that person through other people's opinions. Right, exactly. So then you're not really loving them, because you got to take your reflections and your experiences back to those people to weigh them with what you feel. They give you more response, and then you go back and try more. And so you're really not growing with that person. You're growing through other people to that person. And that's part of the difficulty where our marriage was. There were so many people around her that wanted to be part of her emotions about how she feels about not just our marriage, but several things. And it's broken down a little bit more in the book. And I deal with things that I deal with as a man. And this book would help both male and women, both married and single, to really reflect on what love really teaches you.
You know, Bishop, you are absolutely right when you talk about being in public life. I'm married to a pastor.
Yes.
And so I know the difficulty of trying to have a private life and both people being busy, and you almost have to write each other in your appointment books in order to spend time together. And if you don't do that and make it intentional, then, I mean, you can just like be roommates.
And that's what typically happens. There's a part in the book that I share about our calendars. I've never had a consistent calendar for 5 years, more than 2 weeks in advance, and never had a consistency in those 2 weeks. There's no way a marriage can develop, even though the hope and intent is that it is. We are two people that love each other very much, even right now. I love Juanita tremendously. Even
You're
right now.
still in love.
I am a lover of who she is. I'm a lover of who she could be. But in light of that, she loves me for all the potential and all the things that we know. But it's not until there is the law of agreement, and that's why I talk about best friends in chapter number 1, the law of best friends. There's no way that you all can really come into a wholeness and to an agreement until you learn how to be best friends. And somehow between male and females, there are other people that you start putting on this hierarchy or this totem pole. And that's why relationships don't work until that female looks at that man as the top of her totem pole, no matter how many other men she's ever dated, because she's best friends or even girlfriends that she associates with, that he's at the top of all of her friends, best, and vice versa over here. Because unless that is there, the law of best friends, no one will be, because the Bible says that friends loveth at all times, and not just loveth, but they seek to continue that love irregardless of whatever kind of situations come around. And because of that, we have never had the chance to focus on developing. We haven't had a vacation before this in 2.5 years together. We haven't had time solidly. I share in the book why we only got 20 hours a month together awake, why we didn't get a chance to do movies. We didn't go to big areas. Even though we wanted time together, there were so many other responsibilities, and we'll talk about it, because this is real life. This is not something that is sugar-coated or just painted or just trying to be should I say, slanderish. This is what really happens in relationships, and people want the truth. They're looking at, well, this Bishop Wicks, this Prophetess Juanita Bynum, it was supposed to work, and yes, it was. Well, why didn't it work? Well, let's talk about what love taught both of us.
We're News and Talk 1380 WAOK. I'm Lorraine Jock White. Bishop Thomas Weeks is my very, very special guest on today on Power Talk. We'll be back again. You can send us your emails with any of your thoughts or questions at WAOK Power Talk at CBSradio.com. That's WAOK Power Talk at CBSradio.com.